Why, hello, my little fiends. It's Ms. Monster and my monster melons.
Yo, 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 hey, technology.
Hey, that's all, babies. It's Helena, your Hussy of horror.
Good evening, friends of the undead. I am the Deacon of Darkness, the posthumous pimp. Freakshow!
And I am the Diva of Dismemberment, Mistress of the Blade, June the Meat Cleaver, from the Bordello of Horror.
You're getting your freak on with the Caretaker on the Graveyard Show.
The Graveyard Show.
The Graveyard Show.
The Graveyard Show.
Welcome to the Graveyard.
And you are listening to the Graveyard Show podcast, the Tombstone edition. And I am your caretaker, and the graveyard is open. Got a lot going on, my friends, over these next couple of shows, and I'm not going to waste time. As you heard at the top of the program, I will be wrapping up the topic of horror hosts with a trio of interviews. Ms. Monster and her monster melons will start it off, followed by Freakshow from the Bordello of Horror, and he will be joined by June the Meat Cleaver. And then after that, the Hussy of Horror herself, Helena. The Hussy of Horror will wrap it up. 3 interviews, actually 4, because with Helena, I interviewed her when she first landed in the world of horror hosts, and then she came on my show later on that year for the Halloween episode, so that one's a short one. So really it's kind of like 3 1/4 interviews. Anyway, I don't want to waste time because, well, not only am I putting this show together, but I am rapidly putting together the next show because I want it to be online very, very soon. I'll save it. So join me after these interviews to find out what it is that the next show is going to be, and it's going to be the main show for the month of October. It's going to be my final episode that I upload for October because I wanted to sit and kind of just be there for Halloween season. Alrighty, my friends, let's come inside my caretaker quarters. Ms. Monster and her monster melons, Freakshow in June, Helena. They're all waiting for us as I fire up my trusty tube TV one final time. Well, at least for a while. Lots of graveyard shows from lots of different time periods, so here we go. She's here. Ms. Monster will be in the graveyard. And of course, wherever Ms. Monster goes, so do her melons. Get your minds out of the gutter. I'm talking about tit and tat, Ms. Monster's melons. Come on now. 100 Years of Monster Movies will be presenting their Chat-Along Monster Casts, which will begin on Friday night, June 4th. It will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And having the honors of hosting the very first night will be Ms. Monster, and of course, wherever Ms. Monster goes, her melons will follow. And it's I'm very, very happy to welcome in Ms. Monster and her melons. Tit and tat. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, yo.
Hello, and thanks for having us on the show.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy evening to talk with me and listeners out there. So let's talk about this. Friday night.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Friday night, June 4th, 8 o'clock Eastern. You, Ms. Monster, and the Melons will be hosting 2 films that evening, and the theme, I believe, is Flying Monsters. What can you tell us about the 2 movies that you will be hosting that night?
The 2 movies that we're hosting are The Flying Serpent with George Zucco and The Devil Bat with Bela Lugosi. And both of them are craptastic movies featuring flying
Monsters. That's the monster movie double feature of some sort.
And 100 Years of Monster Movies, they've been great. We did the 72 hours live with them over the Horror Hounds weekend in March.
Indiana, what up?
And that was crazy amounts of fun. And they've been running double feature movies, as I'm sure you know, every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Eastern Time, what's going on?
Okay, thanks, boys. Since then, and we're psyched to be able to start hosting some of these movies again and to be the first ones to kick it off. We're also going to try to do a little live hosting as well.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever tuned in on Friday, but it's 100% interactive on the chat. They give away a lot of free prizes. And
Oh, hell yeah. They gave us the beautiful Mego-style Night of the Living Dead figures. We won those in Indiana. They're freaking rad. And
Yep.
they gave those away last week, too. I'm playing with mine right now.
Yep.
I'm playing with them as we speak on the phone. So you can't see what we're doing. We could be doing anything, right?
You don't want to see what they're doing most of the time.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that I'm on the other side of the phone on this one.
I know. So much for Skype with video. You definitely don't want to do that.
But
No.
tune in June 4th on 100 Years of Monster Movies, and you'll see the Melons all nude.
Oh, God.
In all their naked glory.
But the giveaways, the show's produced by Spearworks, which is the guys, I don't know if you've ever seen their website, that have all that great merch for horror fans.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really neat, actually. It's t-shirts and movie posters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting being the first? I mean, was this something that just happened by chance, or how did this come about? How were you contacted?
This was prophesized at least 20 to 25 years ago. So we're just really fulfilling destiny in a way. It's kind of the beginning of a lot of things. So, June 4th, watch out, the apocalypse.
Thanks, Kat.
Indeed. I you know what? I'm going to have to go back and look up my prophecy because I was not very clear on that. So obviously that's on me. So you know what? If it has been prophesized already, then it must be true. So
Yeah, it is. Aztecs.
Well, that goes into the Flying Serpent movie that's going to be shown.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there's ziggurats in it.
What are those?
There's ziggurats in it.
What are you talking about?
Tune in for ziggurats and possibly Quetzalcoatl.
That's right, boys. Look at it, you're learning.
Quetzalcoatl. He's a bird reptile thing.
Yep, that's
You'll
right.
see in the movie. I don't want to spoil too much of it for you. Spoiler.
So Ms. Monster, how is it trying to contain these two melons of yours?
How is it trying to what? Keep them in line?
To contain them. I mean, they seem like they just kind of go off and running, and you better get out of their way.
Oh, yeah. Well, the melons are little bringers of the apocalypse, and since they came into my life, it's been a challenge. But you move forward the best you can, and I've got all sorts of ways of drugging them, and they get locked up at night. We learn as we go.
Excellent.
We have board games and stuff that we can play when we're chained up. Don't tase me, bro.
So
and we've got
I'm sorry.
blenders and melon ballers and all sorts of things at the crypt that keep them in line. So.
Very good. So let's talk a little bit about you. So when did you begin horror hosting?
I began horror hosting in 2004 as a way to...
1789. In the pioneer times. Before glass was invented.
Yeah.
it's a really good channel for the Melons to sort of release a lot of their built-up energy and desire to maim each other and kind of, try to make a little money on that.
That's never a bad thing. So you've been around since 2004. For those that haven't that are being introduced to you for the first time this evening, your skin is blue, yes?
Yes, my skin is blue, as I'm an undead mistress, or half undead, I suppose. And my hair is bright red, and you should probably go check out a picture at MsMonster.com.
She keeps it pretty fresh. You think that most undead people kind of smell because they're rotting, but she has all kinds of perfumes and scents she puts on. really
Thanks, Ted.
inspiring.
Thanks, Ted.
It's the cinnamon.
So how were you introduced? So let's talk about the relationship between you and your melons. How I don't even know how to ask
How
the
did it come
question.
about?
How did all of a sudden these melons appear?
Well,
I'm going to let Chad take this. He loves giving the backstory.
Okay.
Destiny,
Oh.
Destiny and God love a double entendre.
Oh.
God's involved?
Gods, Quetzalcoatl, the lizard god. Bird, sorry. They're god, lizard, bird.
Icon.
Well, I mean, do we tell the backstory
Wait,
here?
what was the question again?
I don't even know. I kind of crashed and burned an hour ago.
Something about our relationship?
Yes, relationship between you and Ms. Monster. How did you meet?
Well, we all actually came together around the same time. Ms. Monster, me, myself, and I, as I love to talk about in the third person.
Do we answer this?
Yes.
Kid loved it when Miss Monster talks in the third person.
It was a case of accidental incantation, I suppose.
Ah. I hate when that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and, right place at the right time where I was working in the produce stand at my local town hotel. That's HEL.
Mm-hmm.
It was a carny town back in the day, and little did I know that the produce manager, the head guy of the store that ran it, he was, what would you say?
He was a sorcerer, opening a gate and bringing the bringers of the apocalypse into two giant monolith statues, which accidentally went into two pieces of fruit.
Because Miss Monster, who was then somebody else, came in and boxed the whole thing, and we were supposed to go into the monolith, and we ended up in these melon bodies, and now we're stuck here.
And I ended up with blue skin and these two boys to take care of.
And we love each other. We're a big family now.
That's right.
And we enjoy long walks on the beach.
And peanut butter pie.
Yes, peanut butter pie.
And murder and stuff.
And murder and stuff.
I have to say I saw your Night of the Living Dead rap that you did, and who came up with that idea?
I think it was just kind of freestyle. That's how we kick it. We're old school. And we actually got to go see Romero last night. He was
here in town.
He was here in town last night.
Oh yes, that's right. With Survival of the Dead. Did you saw the movie then?
Exactly. I gotta say, I love his Q&A. I mean, he's still a sharp dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you like the film?
We're totally all over the place, but fun. I wish it was at a place where we could have consumed a little alcohol. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, alcohol certainly makes the day go a lot easier. That's for sure.
Well, they're party boots.
I saw too that one of you had the eye bone. Was it you, Tit?
Yes. The boys have been being introduced to technology, and Tit's really taken a knacking for it.
Yeah, I'm blogging right now. As a matter of fact, I'm blogging about this podcast.
I'm talking on the phone right now.
I'm on an iPhone.
And LOL.
Technology, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing, really. There's like circuit boards and stuff, and you can play video games, and it's just a lot of fun. I love technology, and I want to keep
technology.
Okay.
Technologized. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tit. That was good.
So let's talk about what sparked the whole 100 Years of Monster Movies website, which was the Vampira Tribute back in March. You were one of over 70, I think the final count was 72 horror hosts that were there in Indianapolis. So tell us, what was it like being there? Because you are the first horror host that we've spoken to after the Vampira Tribute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of the interviews we did was leading into it. So what can you tell us? What was it like being there?
Well, the convention itself, we had a whole section that was devoted to horror hosts, and that was just wild and crazy. I don't know if you saw any footage from that area of the convention, but just having all these horror hosts around us, all these costumes, all these monsters. It was phenomenal.
I felt like a homecoming queen.
Yeah.
I almost busted out my tiara. I felt so welcomed and just, it was amazing.
That's actually a really good point, Sid. It was like a homecoming.
Yeah.
And the vampire tribute itself was really well done. It was very spooky and eerie, and it had a great, I don't know, the introduction, we all walked in with candles into a dark room. And then we had a couple, I got on stage and said a few words about Vampira, as did a bunch of other hosts. It was just great to be a part of this big collective. Amazing. And it brought all that energy together.
Yeah.
And I think it's really sparked a lot of momentum in the group, and we have a huge sort of online presence now. We're all emailing each other all the time, and
yeah, we're riding the wave, baby.
Yeah, riding the wave.
Right.
I think that the internet and doing these live webcasts or webcasts with hosts is really going to push this into a bunch of new markets. A lot of people that haven't been able to ever see it.
Technology.
Yes, it is. It's technology, Ted.
We're huge with the Eskimo community. It's incredible.
Yeah, we're raising money to send laptops to the Inuits so that we can...
All right, boys. Thank you.
Ah, yes. Ought to be in your position right now. See, this is why I do my show alone.
Yes, now you know why it's much better to do things alone. Mm-hmm. Yes. But the Vampire tribute was put on by Dark Carnival, and Jason Ignite was the person that planned it all. And he's the one that really brought all of these hosts together. He's incredible and did a really amazing job of it. We had a lot of fun. It was completely over the top, all sitting on stage all together for that group photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's making history.
Well, I was gonna say it must have felt pretty cool. I mean, because having over 70 horror hosts in one spot at the same time, which I think a lot of people thought wasn't going to be possible.
I think we had. I actually think there was 82, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was upwards of 80.
82.7.
Yeah, half of one.
That's right, because the Melons. What do we count the Melons at? It's like point.
Hey, we're like 2 of anything.
Yeah. I guess that makes us.
Yeah, so it's like we're 0.35. We're like squared. Yeah.
Are you glad you brought up technology in the iPhone?
I'm telling you. Oh my gosh.
In my iPhone.
Oh my.
So let's. Why don't you tell everybody about your website out there? You have your website, which you mentioned earlier. It's MsMonster.com. Where else can they find you, whether it's online or on television, or where else can people find Ms. Monster?
Oh, you can definitely catch us online. We are randomly on different television stations all over the place. Probably not even worth saying when and where because I don't know. I don't have the list, but definitely at MsMonster.com. Our YouTube page always has clips up, and we have DVD 1, 2, and 3 for sale, and DVD 4 is coming out. We have a new T-shirt, which is pretty hot, if I say so myself.
Brad.
And we're working on getting the Ms. Monster maquette done.
Yeah, if you buy a DVD, you can just watch us anytime. Doesn't matter when or where we are.
That's right. So we're definitely going to be learning all this how to go live stuff with the 100 Years of Monster movies, and that is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
I think the fans right away.
Excited about the technology of this live.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Thanks.
Also, I have to mention this too. Michael Monaghan, who's been on the show several times, said
we love Doc.
He said he said he had a great time with you guys at Vampire Tribute. He said it was a blast.
Oh yeah, Doc G is one of our favorite guys. He's pretty much the guy that got us started live shows at the Castro Theater in San Francisco. His support has been monumental in, I think, our success.
Yeah, he's like a godfather figure to me.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He actually just bought the Melons. He brought over a chastity belt for them.
And he is.
No.
He is.
No, he did not.
No, yes, he did. I'll send you a picture.
All right, you have to. Yeah, okay, you have to send me. You have to send me this picture because I have to see it with my own eyes, and then I'll probably poke them out after I do see this photo.
Yes, you will.
Oh, the humanity. What have I wrought on the Graveyard Show? Well, listen, I'm going to stop it here before it gets any crazier. So, listen,
Yes.
I want to thank you, all three of you, for coming on the show. And again, it's June 4th. 100 Years of Monster Movies is the website. And Ms. Monster and her Melons were here, folks. It is certainly a moment I will not forget. Thank you for coming on to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us. We're big fans of your show, so it's been really an honor to be here. Thank you.
Technology, yay! Yo, Tataka!
They are awesome. Ms. Monster and her Melons, everybody. Awesome. It was such a fun time having them on the show. Michael Monaghan made it a point to mention them to me after Vampira Tribute. And he, as we talked about, they worked with Michael at Vampira. And he told me flat out, he's like, you have to have them on your show. These guys are awesome. He had such a blast. And it just so happens that it timed out right. So thank you, Ms. Monster. Thank you, Tit. Thank you, Tat. It was a lot of fun having you on. And I can't wait to have them back on again. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun, as you can tell in my voice. And now we go 180 degrees in the opposite direction. It's now time to talk zombies. More specifically, the Zombie Pub Lurch coming to Madison, Wisconsin this Saturday night, August 15th. And as you hear the music, that means only one thing. It's time to go north to Madison, which, ironically enough this week, was one of the 5 top places in the country to buy a house. Coincidence?
Now, normally, I would be welcoming Rich Peterson from the Bordello of Horror, but Rich isn't here tonight. He has a substitute, and that substitute is the Deacon of Darkness, the posthumous pimp. Freakshow from the Bordello of Horror. Freakshow, welcome to the Graveyard.
All right. It's about time I got some airtime. Rich is a good guy, a little full of himself, though. It's great to finally talk to you.
Well, it's great to finally have you here. You were gracious enough to have me on your show, the Bordello of Horror, back in June. And it's great having you here. So, Freakshow, why don't you tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself?
Well, you know what? My story's a little complex. Basically, through some bad circumstances brought on by some very, very bad people and their toxic reanimating agent, I become the sexy member of the eternal undead that I am. My story will be coming out in a form of an upcoming comic book soon. Until then, we'll be posting clues as to my origin online for a scavenger hunt where people can collect clues to build the story and win tickets to this year's Madison Horror Film Festival.
Wow. That is awesome, and that's coming up in October 3rd and 4th, I believe, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the Bordello of Horror?
Well, are you kidding me? The Bordello of Horror. I guess if you've been living under a rock, or Tombstone as it may be, there's probably a few people out there who haven't dared to step into the Bordello. Myself, along with the Harlots, we host the online video podcast with a lot of twisted fun. We do featured films, interviews, news, reviews, and more. You can actually check us out on the Bordello page at MadisonHorror.com.
Very nice. And it is a great website, great show. If you haven't seen the Bordello of Horror, it's real simple. You go to MadisonHorror.com, you can go to iTunes and type in Bordello of Horror. And now, Freakshow, the show launched, I know, in February of this year. And anybody who's watched it knows that the Harlots consist of Candy and Jessica. But I understand that you do have a new addition to the ladies. And as a matter of fact, you were kind enough to send me some photos that I posted on.
What'd you think of those photos?
Oh, they were great. They were great.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were great. Great photos. But I understand that the newest lady is here with us right now. Why don't you make the introduction?
Oh, that's right. Now you're talking. You know, my bloodthirsty little harlot's around here somewhere. June, are you here?
I'll be right there.
Well, get your slinky, sexy, slaughtering self over here and talk to the man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like the diva of dismemberment, the mistress of the blade. She's a real cut-up. She'll tenderize your heart on the chopping block, only to slice it to smithereens.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I do apologize for my tardiness. A good little cleaver-wielding harlot always polishes her blade. Let's just say I have a very love-cut relationship with my cleaver.
So, June, welcome to the show. So, how did you come to join the Harlots?
Well, working a regular 9 to 5 conflicted with my passion for blood and flesh. Freakshow, as you know, is a bit notorious. And I always heard of his undying love for his harlots. So it was basically a no-brainer to seek him out and offer my contribution.
Very nice. Well, I certainly welcome you to the Bordello of Horror. A friend, of course, of the show, and it's very nice to have you here. So, Freakshow, what does Madison Horror have in store for us these next few weeks?
Well, actually, this Saturday, August 15th, we get for Madtown Brain Drain, the zombie pub lurch. What can you tell us about that, June?
Well, all of our zombie friends will be clawing themselves in the graves to unite at 5 p.m. at Regent Street Retreat, located at 1206. That is 1206 Regent Street, right here in Madison, Wisconsin.
That's right. Myself and the Harlots of Horror will lead the Blood and Booze Thirsty Pack through a series of bars along the main artery through the heart of Madison.
Oh, and we will finish the lurch at the Zombie Dance hosted by High Noon Saloon with the featured bands Human ID, the Mother High Syndicate, and a group so near and dear to my heart, all the Pretty Horses.
That's right. Be sure to check out the events page at MadisonHorror.com to sign up and register to win official Madtown Brain Drain t-shirts, weekend passes to the Madison Horror Film Festival, and in addition, a Zombies by the Dozens pro makeup kit courtesy of Gorify.com, valued at $120.
Very nice. You know, it's funny, when I first read the press release, I was reading it and it said Human ID, and I went, well, of course, what kind of ID would you what kind of other ID would you have?
It's a toe tag.
Exactly. I'm like, it certainly wouldn't be a zombie ID. And I'm like, no, you idiot, that's the name of the band. Oh, you know, that's why I stay inside.
Well, you gotta keep those zombies at bay in your graveyard.
Yes, I do.
You do.
I mean, they're trying to get out for this, and I told them, I'm like, I have to think about that one because,
Well, they're more than welcome.
Oh, well, that's good.
Come on down.
I will let them know that. They can get a little rowdy at times, though, as we've seen and heard on the show. Now, let's talk about Madison Horror Film Festival coming up in October. What can you tell us about this?
Well, we actually announced on your show that Lloyd Kaufman was going to be the featured guest for this year. Fortunately, he had an emergency come up, which was, beyond control, and he's not going to be able to make it. But we do have a very special guest announcement coming up this. Hopefully,
tell him about it.
I can't tell him about it. Hopefully, by the end of the show, the Caretaker will be able to announce it. But beyond that, we've got Bill Rebane coming in. He's a Wisconsin native. He started the first non-coastal film production company here in Wisconsin. He produced and directed Giant Spider Invasion, a bunch of other great films. We've got Debbie Rochon coming in for Fangoria Radio with Dee Schneider. We've got the always lovely Elska McCain, who was your guest last week, I believe.
That is correct, yes.
Scarlett Salem's coming in. She works with Not for the Squeamish Productions up in Minneapolis. Great woman. She does great work. And we've got all sorts of special giveaways we're going to be doing. and all sorts of events.
Oh, Freaky, my dearest Freak Show. Don't forget, there's less than 30 days for people to submit their work.
That's right. There's actually less than 30 days left for any independent filmmakers that want to submit their independent short or feature film to the Madison Horror Film Festival. And you can actually go to MadisonHorror.com on the submissions page, and you can check out all the details. You can download the forms, send them off to us, send your film in. But the deadline is Friday, September 4th. So get your films in now, and for all the developments and upcoming news on the event, check out MadisonHorror.com.
MadisonHorror.com.
And there you have it, everybody. That's what's coming up in the Bordello of Horror. Freak Show, June, it was great having you here. Thank you so much for coming on in. And Freak Show, when you have that special announcement for you to make, just send it my way, and I'll make sure to put it on my show.
Oh yeah, some girls going on. I got to work the girls, but I'll make sure Rich gets back to you. All right?
Fantastic. Thanks for.
It's lovely finally speaking with you.
Yes, it's lovely finally speaking to you and having you here. Welcome to the internet family. Welcome to the horror community, June, and Freak Show. I will speak with you soon.
All right. Thanks for having us finally.
There is a new lady in the world of horror, and her name is Helena, the Hussy of horror. Helena has just recently launched her website, hussyofhorror.com, and I am pleased to welcome her to the horror community. And Helena now joins me in the graveyard. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, doll baby. I'm so excited to be here. I love graveyards, you know. I have one of my own in my backyard.
Yes, I did. I noticed that on your videos on your website, which we'll get into in just a minute. So why don't we introduce you properly to the horror community? I'm going to get into your youth. You grew up in Kansas, and you worked in the cornfields. I can't imagine that was very easy to do.
Yes, I'm from Wichita. Yeah, it was a hard road, but it's nice to now finally be away from that and entertaining. Really, that's what I was born to do. I was born to be adorable. Cornfields are hard.
I'm sure, and working out in the sun all day is not exactly a good thing to do either, right?
Oh no, not so much. I'm not a sun girl, really. I like moonlight.
Yeah. I did notice that as well on your website. Now, when you were 12 years old, you had something terrible happen to you. You were possessed by a demon. What happened?
Well, I don't know. I had this unbelievable craving for split pea soup, and I went through this whole week-long period where I was just, I don't know, it was kind of like a blackout. I really don't know everything that happened. I mean, my poor mother, she could tell you better about exactly what I did, but I can't eat split pea soup anymore.
Okay. Well, you did go to an academy, the Ross Prentice Academy, and you learned about genetics and fencing. That's pretty interesting. Two very different fields to learn about. So, which did you like better?
Really, I think I liked the fencing better. It was, just a little more physical, if you know what I mean. But the Ross Prentice Women's Academy, I mean, they really like to empower their women. So they like to give you the intellectual bits, genetics, reproducing without men. We'll get there one day, and the fencing.
I see. Now, you did, while you were attending the academy, you did have an accident happen in the in herbology class. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, we don't really talk about that.
Oh no, it was that bad.
That was a bad experience. Yeah.
I can understand that. But you wound up leaving, and then you completed your schooling in Haddonfield, Illinois. Is that correct?
Yes, my uncle lives there. I went to live with my uncle for a while. I finished school there in Haddonfield and then moved to Chicago for a while. Elm Street in Chicago. That was my first place away from home on my own. It was wonderful. That's where I got my true love of entertaining, where I really got to be on my first show, and just little stage shows. You can't trip or, walk down the street in Chicago without tripping over an audition. So that's where I really just got the bug,
Uh-huh. So you really enjoy theater?
I did. I'm a theater girl to start with, but, I think I'm really liking this web short video series thing we got going on.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll get it. I want to get into that in just a minute. So, is Chicago, you love Chicago, so tell us, what is it that you love about Chicago?
It's just a very cool town. I mean, besides freezing your little Katushka off, in the middle of winter, I can't think of anything bad to say about it. It has a very nice vibe, much better than where I'm at now. DC's a little stiffer. Chicago's very loose, very friendly.
And I'm guessing that it's probably just as cold in D.C., so I can't imagine that as far as weather goes, it's really very much fun.
It's been very wet this year.
Not very good for the not very good for graveyards. I know that for sure. The rain.
Honey, and it's horrid on the hair.
I can't speak to that, so Now you were a dominatrix for a while, but according to your website, you said that there was no litigation pursued. So dare I ask what happened?
Yeah, that's another one, but I'm not sure my lawyer would appreciate me talking about.
Okay. Well, we don't want to make any lawyers angry. So now we know that you have a background as a dominatrix. You have a background as an entertainer, and you have fencing background, some sort of herbology background, as well as genetics. I mean, you are quite the well-rounded lady, I have to say.
I am eclectic and complete, darling.
Now, this year, or really it was last year, but it was for this year's After Dark Horror Fest. For those that don't know, the After Dark Horror Fest, as well as showing the 8 Films to Die For, also holds auditions for Miss Horror Fest. So this year you tried your hand at becoming Miss Horror Fest. So what inspired you to pursue this?
Well, I think horror films were fun. I enjoy them, and I thought it would be kind of, a lark to enter the contest and see how things would go. That was the first video that I did, and, well, I realized that the short video format was a lot of fun, and I wanted to do more. That's from entering the Horror Fest contest is really where the HussyofHorror.com has originated from.
Okay. Well, I did see your video, which anybody listening can go to HussyofHorror.com, and they can see your videos. You have 3 videos on there.
I do.
And so let's talk about this now. What got you interested in hosting your website? How did you go about doing this?
Well, I think that, first of all, I love 80s. I love 80s horror films, and genre films, not just horror films, but genre films in particular. And I think that the originals need a little love and attention now that so many of them are being remade. Reboots are fabulous, don't get me wrong. It's really great when a director runs with a concept. I mean, if you don't have anything new and constructive to say, why open your mouth, right? But the originals are still valid as well, and I thought, well, maybe I can spark a little interest in the old school films, and plus doing the videos is just a blast. So after I did the Miss Horror Fest competition entry, a friend, Gary Ugaric, he's the director of Deadland, it's a little local indie zombie film here in the DC Baltimore area.
Okay.
He asked me to do a intro for his second movie, which is Deadlands 2, Trapped. And so I did that. That's on my website as well that you can see. And then from there, I just kind of stalked Lonnie Martin. Lonnie Martin owns and runs Ningenmanga Productions along with his wife, Cindy.
Okay.
A little bit of a tramp. I don't know what to call him. Motion, really obnoxious. But, I just kind of stalked Lonnie. He had done the videography and some of the film work on the first 2 videos that she did, and I just convinced him that doing a monthly web series with me was a fantastic idea, and that it would allow Ningenmanga Productions to kind of grease the wheels, why don't have another project going right now. They have a feature film coming out this fall and no other projects right now on the works. So, this is just kind of a side project for them, and I get to be in front of the camera.
Someplace where you like to be. So that's a good thing.
I do.
So what's it like working with Lonnie? I mean, how is he? Is he good to work with?
He is good to work with. Oh, he's a sweetheart, truly. He really is. he's my backup. If Bruce Campbell doesn't realize that we're engaged and we're going to get married, I'm going to, get rid of Cindy and get Lonnie to marry me.
Oh, okay. now, are you going to get rid of Cindy like I've seen in your videos with a chainsaw in the back of your grave in your graveyard in the backyard?
Well, no, I can't tell you. I can't warn ahead of time how it's coming.
That is true. You're gonna have to make us guess, or just leave it as a surprise. It would be just as fun, I would think.
Very good. Very good.
Now, tell us about your vintage store that you have on your website.
Yes, we have a little Amazon A store where we go in and find just different items related to whatever film it is that we're putting up a video on. Just all in one little spot for you, very convenient. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, films, comic books, anything whatsoever related to the topic.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask you about, you have a video coming out now in July. Can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek as to what it's going to be that you're going to be doing?
Oh, in July? Oh, well, I can tell you that I think I'm going to be taking a vacation in July, and we thought it might be kind of fun to kind of center the video around that.
Okay.
I don't know, somewhere with a large body of water, I think. I'd like to get some summer rays, though I like moonlight, but, a tan is nice to have in the summer, so I think I'm going to pull out the old bathing suit, maybe do some swimming or water skiing. I don't know about actually getting in the water, though. I'm afraid of sharks.
Oh, aren't we all? Now, you did mention Bruce Campbell, that you, obviously you're infatuated with Bruce Campbell. Which film of his is your favorite?
You live in LA, right? You don't happen to have his number, do you?
You know what? I don't, actually. But if there's anybody out there that knows Bruce Campbell, could you please forward him my email address, please? Or just have him go to the HussyofHorror.com and he can look up Helena. And
yes, I mean, it's not like I'd call him at, really odd hours of the night or stand outside his window or watching him undress, show up at a safe restaurant, anything like that.
No.
Just kidding. Just kidding. No,
so which of his films is your favorite?
You would ask which film I like. Dead by Dawn. I like that better than the first film. That's my favorite. Though Army of Darkness is good too. Okay.
Well, I'm just curious because Evil Dead 2 is definitely the beginning of the campy Evil Dead series. What is it about that? Is that what you liked about it, or what is it that you liked?
I'm a fan of camp. I like schlock. I like schlocky horror films, things that you can sit back and laugh at, things that remind you not to take yourself too seriously or take life too seriously. Sure. That's what I like about older horror films and things that are just kind of schlocky and fun. Now, today's horror films, I gotta tell you, like the things that are very realistic and I have a hard time separating myself from the truth of the matter. I mean, those scare me. They really scare me. I mean, for instance, Romero's Dawn.
Yep.
That one, fantastic.
Yep.
The remake, I can't watch it.
Oh, it scares you.
I'm ashamed to admit on a horror film, I can't watch it. I mean, the little girl in the parents' bedroom in the trailer gave me nightmares for a week.
Well, that can happen sometimes. Yeah, that is for certain. I mean, there are several films that I've seen that have scared the living bejesus out of me, and I know what you mean. And especially too with nowadays, I think we're kind of turning the corner on that. But a lot of the torture porn movies, they're not exactly enjoyable to watch. They are a little bit too real.
It's just uncomfortable.
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now I see that you say that you're handy with the bullwhip, and you like a good cocktail. So, do you have a preference?
Well, the Louisiana Swamp Thing cocktail that I found was really good. It needed an extra 2 sugar cubes, so the first sugar cube just kind of gave me a hairball for a week. But after the second sugar cube, it was pretty good.
Okay. What exactly goes in that? Because I know you did a website. On your website, you did a video on there about that. So for those that haven't seen it yet, what will they see when they go to your website?
Well, there are several different types of distilled liquors that you have to very carefully do in beakers. And then there's a few just secret ingredients that you put in, and it's this wonderful, beautiful cocktail for like a summer party. Oh, it's great. It's this neon green, fantastic. Tastes a little
reptilian?
Little, you know, swamp-like, but very good. Very good.
Oh, okay.
That's a great kick.
And is there any smoke that comes out of the beakers as you're pouring the liquid?
Not if you do it properly.
Oh, okay. So that's good to know, though. So anybody who's out there, if they try to make this, if there is smoke that comes out of your beakers, you're not doing it right. Stay away from it.
Smoke and don't drink it.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. So, let's talk about the film Women's Studies. What can you tell us about that?
Well, from what I know about the film, I've heard Lonnie talk about it a lot on set. That's the first feature film that's coming out for Ning and Manga Productions. It's coming out in fall of 2009.
Okay.
Name of it is Women's Studies. It's shot in my alma mater, which is kind of exciting. It's shot at the Ross Prentice Women's Academy.
Okay.
And it's about this group of women on campus who take female empowerment just a little bit too seriously.
Okay. And I believe it's going to be coming out in the fall of this year. Am I correct?
Fall of 2009 on MTI Home Video.
Okay. And if anybody wants to get details on it, do you happen to know the website where they can go to?
Oh, shoot. He mentioned it. Oh, it's womensstudiesmovie.com or areyoualadykiller.com.
Okay, there you go. Areyoualadykiller.com or womensstudiesfilm.com. And of course, if you forget, just type in, you know what to do. Go into the search engine, Women's Studies Film. You can find it. You guys are pretty sophisticated nowadays. You can find anything out there. Well, before I let you go, I want to get some of your thoughts on some of the other horror hostesses that are out there. What can you tell me about any of them? Are you friends with any of them? Do you know any of them? Do you talk? Do you guys... tell me about that.
Well, you know, I don't yet. I'm really the new kid on the block. I haven't met anyone officially. The only official other horror host that I've ever met in person is Count Gordon Ball. I met him at the Baltimore Horror Finds weekend last year.
Okay.
He's hilarious and wonderful. I happened to be with Lonnie Martin when we met him at that time. Lonnie almost fainted because he had watched The Count since he was a little kid on local television because he's from here in the D.C., Baltimore area.
Okay.
He was very, very nice. But as far as other horror hostesses, I mean, it's a niche that isn't really truly being filled right now. The rise of the internet has made it a little difficult for horror hostesses to figure out how to make the format work. But I think we're starting to do it. I mean, you've got Miss Misery. She's super cute. Oh, and Rena Young, she's a sweetheart too. You know, she owns Last Doorway Productions. She's Miss Misery's boss. Her Last Doorway show has a certain vintage feel. I like it. And I enjoy her. She's adorable and a good interviewer. Oh, and her festival is playing one of Ning and Manga Productions' films here coming up in June, Under the Bed, a little short that they had done for a DC 48-hour film project. But that's going to be playing.
Oh, okay, fantastic. That's good to know. Yes, I had Raina on the show a few months ago, and she's just fantastic. And I got to meet her in person at Fango here in Los Angeles back in April, and she's just a lovely, lovely woman. Back in March, I dedicated 3 shows to the topic of women in horror. I had Raina Young on, Heidi Martinuzzi, and Shannon Lark on, and I was curious, as a woman in horror, what can you tell us about that? What are your thoughts on that?
Less boobs, more brains. I should start my own line of bumper stickers, right? Really, I think that there are strong women out there with juicy roles right now, already, today. I think there are also feminist men in the industry, and the things are changing. By feminist men, I mean men who want to fight women, men who aren't challenged by a woman having power, and who want women to be their equals in the home and in work. You know, I'm not sure that that's the story that always gets the headlines yet, though. Mayhem sells better. I think men who fear women one-upping them, I think they still exist, and I think those stories get more press and word of mouth than the good guys. Again, I think that'll change, but I don't think it has yet. And ultimately, I think it's a mix There is no black and white. People have to remember that when they get fired up and when they get discouraged, too. I mean, it's not that there are evil men holding down women and timid women too afraid to take what's theirs. There are good men who still do bad things and strong women who still have moments of weakness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed male crew members on set who are good men and who have equal relationships with women in their personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
A little less respectful of women on set for some reason. Maybe that disrespect just manifests itself in insisting a woman show more leg, wear a shorter costume, enhance the Adrienne Barbeau's, you know, because that's what'll sell. The problem there is, if the woman wants to exploit her assets, go for it. I mean, look at me. But asking her to when she's obviously, you know, not comfortable with it, or when she's already expressed disinterest, that's rape and wrong. It's like forcing sex on her when it's not her choice. I personally, I believe myself that you don't have to throw in sex to make something sell. Make the project you want to make, and who cares if it's mainstream? That's my thing. I think eventually it'll come around.
Now, even though you're still new in the horror game, how have you been treated so far as a female entertainer in the horror community?
Well, so far I have been lucky at this point. I myself have not had any scrapes or brush-ins. All of our crew, we actually have a very small crew. We have a crew of 5 for Helena, so it's a very small, intimate, and personal, and we all know each other very well. But, I mean, I know that Cindy Marie Martin, she's, you know, the other half of Ningamanga, she struggles as a female producer, personally.
Yeah.
Calling people to action, getting things done. Exactly. Her husband, Lonnie's a little more effective at public admin for Ningamanga than she is. People listen to him better. Now, that's not only because he's a man. He happens to be very outgoing and an authoritative personality. He commands respect. For the most part, people love him, but having the gender equipment doesn't really help, or doesn't really hurt, you know?
Okay.
So Cindy does the behind-the-scenes stuff because she gets a little bit of eye-rolling when she tries to do the front.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, you and Cindy don't get along, though, right?
No, not really. Again, I mean, she's a little obnoxious. I gotta tell you, kind of a hayseed. I mean, we both grew up on the farm, but, you know, at least I was able to get out of that. Cindy's a little hayseed, bit of a wallflower, too. Kind of really sad.
So as a horror hostess, what can you tell us what it's like to be a horror hostess? Because there aren't very many left, and it is certainly a certain art form. So what can you tell us about being a horror hostess?
Well, really, it's just love of the movie. I mean, whatever I happen to be talking about, whatever topic it is, I just focus on that movie and just on presenting it to my audience and just having a good time. I mean, I enjoy talking to the camera, and as far as, I mean, thinking, there's, you know, not a whole lot of thinking involved with Helena.
Just kind of doing.
Helena, no, just kind of doing. Yeah, just doing.
Well, I appreciate you doing this interview here in the Graveyard Show. I wish you all the success with your website. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Welcome to the community, and if people want to go to your website, tell them the website address.
Thank you so much for having me. It's hussyofhorror.com.
You heard it there, fellas and ladies. Hussyofhorror.com. Go and support Helena. Helena, thank you so much for joining me in the graveyard. I know I'll be seeing you in your graveyard on your website. Continued success. Good luck with everything, and I'll have you back down the road.
Thank you so much, doll baby. Nighty-night, man.
Now it's time to check in with a friend of the show. You know she's gearing up for the Halloween season. Of course, I'm talking about the horror hostess herself, Helena, Hussy of Horror. Helena, it's great to have you back in the graveyard.
Thanks, oh baby. It's great to be back. I love coming on your show. You're awesome.
Well, we love having you on the show, and I'm really happy that you took the time to come back on for this special Halloween edition of the Graveyard Show. First of all, I just want to congratulate you on being the September Scream Queen of the month on ScreamQueen.com. That had to have been a big thrill, to say the least.
That was fantastic. It's completely out of the blue that they contacted me, but just such a really great thrill to be on there with some of the other ladies, you know, that have been on the site. But just fantastic for September and a nice lead into October. You know, Halloween, my favorite time of the year.
Oh, yes. Well, now, you've been quite busy since the last time that we had you on the show back in about, I think it was about April. You were doing a monthly video cast at that point, but now you've upped the ante. You're doing a weekly video cast for the month of October. So how's that coming along?
Just a little special treat for everyone for Halloween, you know. It's gone very well. We had, you know, my first video in October, it was just my own little pet project. Literally, October's National Pet Wellness Month, and I love the animals, so I just wanted to go ahead and do that. And then we got into some collaborations with Spirit Halloween, with the Halloween store, and with Count Bordello, and so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's
to bring other people in.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about that. You did do a shopping spree at the local Spirit Halloween store. So how did that go for you?
It was so much fun. Have you been in the stores? There's so many lovely things to play with.
What are some of your favorite things there?
Well, I love the heads. We have the core of the heads, you know, just the people hanging all over our house for Halloween. I love the props. Really, they subsidize me. They just don't know it yet.
Now, you also ran into an old boyfriend there. You want to fill everybody in on who that was?
Oh, Lord. Oh, well, I thought he had gone back to Illinois, but I don't know. He must have been in D.C. for the shopping season. I have no idea. But Michael Myers was there. It was a very interesting conversation, and things got, you know, a little bit sticky, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we'll clear it up.
Now you are working with Spirit. You guys are doing like a cross promotion of some sorts. Why don't you explain to everybody out there what Helena is doing with Spirit?
Well, Spirit Halloween, we decided that we would contact them since it seems that their brands and our brands really seem to fit each other. So we contacted Spirit to see if they would like us to come in the store, if they would let us come in and film a Helena video there. Really, we were just looking for a location. So we came in and they loved the video that we did for them, and they have been marketing it out for the past week to their client database and on their website, spirithalloween.com, because they thought it was a really great marketing piece for Spirit Halloween. So we're hoping that collaboration might be able to continue on into the future.
That would be fantastic. And also, of course, I'm sure you'll get the employee discount.
Oh, I do hope so.
You can stock up for next year. So you also now you've also been doing some cross promotion with Count Gore Duval. Why don't you tell everybody out there how that came about?
Well, Count Gore, we love Count Gore. Count Gore is an institution here in the D.C. area, and my co-producer, my writer, Lonnie Martin, you know, he just absolutely loves him and has adored him forever. So it was his idea first to contact Count Gore, and we did. We contacted him to see if he would be interested in doing a little cross promo with us. And, you know, you have to get in shape for the Halloween season, so I needed a little bit of trick-or-treating. I needed to trick-or-treat and kind of get in shape for the big night, and he obliged us and showed us his dungeon. It was great.
Oh, wow. So what was that like, seeing the dungeon?
I got to go in the coffin.
Oh, wow. So
it was amazing. It's very roomy in there, actually.
Really? Is it like a queen size or a king size coffin?
It's like a California king.
Oh, okay. So it's got a lot of leg room. Okay.
Two fit nicely, yes.
Okay, very nice. Excellent. Now, I also understand that you're working with Monster Madhouse for cross-promotion for next year. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
We're very excited. Jerry Morris contacted me. You know, monsters are everywhere, you know, and it's just, he thought that my shtick might do well on the show, and so we're hoping to do a little cross promo and have me come on the show and perhaps do some appearances with them. So we're working on that now for next year, for 2010.
Okay.
So look for it. Monster Madhouse. It's in the Fairfax, Virginia. They have television shows that go on air on cable television all the way from Stafford, Centerville, Fairfax, all around the Northern Virginia area. They also broadcast on a station in Texas as well, and they're trying to go a little more national with the show. So they're trying to really up what they're doing as well and bring in as many horror hosts as possible to play on the show, because it's just one big playhouse over there, you know, and the more people that come together and help each other out, hopefully the more people that are making a noise, the louder the roar.
Well, that's a good thing. I've noticed that this year that horror hosts have really become they're becoming more popular again, which is a great thing, because it is such a part of television history and American history, at least modern American history. And I mean, you do such a great job. And I've noticed that since the last time that you've been on this show, that your popularity has skyrocketed. I mean, you are just, you're the bee's knees now out there. And I was just wondering, how are the fans approaching you now?
They're fantastic. I have wonderful fans on Facebook and on YouTube. Some of the people, I just know that they're going to be the first ones to comment. Like, I can't wait to see what they say. We definitely have some people that are watching regularly, and we're gaining people too, which is really exciting. And it's not, people take over the world one little, I'm not saying I'm taking over the world, but you take over the world one little step at a time, and we get like one new subscriber per day or 1 to 2 per day, and 365 in a year.
Exactly.
I'll take it. I'll take any that I can. So we're definitely, it's a constant progression of getting new people in. So that's just fantastic to me. Hopefully we can start, bringing more people on the show so that we're promoting other things besides ourselves too.
Great.
Because that's really the point.
Well, we'll get to all the websites in just a minute, but before that, I wanted to ask you, I understand you're working very hard for your Halloween show. Why don't you give all the listeners out there a little tease?
Well, I was invited to Mr. Kruger's big Halloween party.
Wow.
So that's on Halloween night, so I'm really excited. I can't wait to go. I think, Marguerite kind of likes that guy that she met at the Spirit Halloween store.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to try and go with him. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I can't wait to go and see all the great people that are going to be there. It's the most exciting day of the year, and I cannot wait. And if anything ruins it, I will be absolutely crushed.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you are going to have a great time there, and have a fantastic time. You've been doing some great work online.
Thank you.
For anybody that might just be hearing you for the first time, they want to come visit you on the web, why don't you give them all your websites?
They can come to hussyofhorror.com, or I'm also on Facebook at Hussy of Horror, and my YouTube channel is Hussy of Horror as well.
And there you go. Helena, thank you so much for coming back on the Graveyard show. I really appreciate it, and much success to you in the future. Congratulations on everything, and look forward to having you again back on the show down the road.
Caretaker, thank you. I love coming on your show, and anytime, baby.
All right, welcome back. As I wrap up the topic of horror hosts here inside the Graveyard Show, I want to thank Helena, Freakshow, June, Ms. Monster, Tit, and Tat for joining me all those many, many years ago. So as you heard in my interview with Ms. Monster, she was referred to me by Michael Monahan, who I had on the program. And, well, if you go back, you'll find my interviews with him as well. He is the man when it comes to history of horror hosts. He's just a fountain of information. He recommended Ms. Monster to me to come on the show, and boy, did they delivered. They did not disappoint. As far as Freakshow goes, well, Freakshow has a lot of connections here on the program. Freakshow was a guest, as you heard. He came on as his alter ego, Rich Peterson from Madison Horror. And Rich does a lot of work in the horror community in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm not sure what he's doing nowadays there in terms of events, but I can tell you this. Freakshow and the Bordello of Horror are still out there. And here, I'm looking it up right now. You can find the Bordello of Horror on TVW. That's Broadcast Channel 3.2 Charter and DirecTV 14, AT&T Uverse, and TDS, I think that is, Channel 2. Freakshow also has his own pizzeria, it looks like. It's Freaky's Pizza and Wings. Check out bordelloofhorror.com, or he's got a few other websites still going here. And it doesn't look like June is with the Bordello anymore, but the cast of characters is there. So take a look, check it out, support Freakshow and those that are with him inside the Bordello of Horror. And Rich also hosted the Graveyard Show podcast as the Undertaker. And he did that several times for me while I had to step away from the show for a while. And he also helped book guests for the show. So there's a connection with him and the program. I hope, Rich, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well, my friend. And if you see Rich, tell him the Caretaker says hello. And have a slice of pizza for me. Big fan of pizza, so can't go wrong there. It's been a while since I've talked to Rich. Caretaker's gone underground. Yeah. It's just one of those things. And Helena, the Hussy of Horror, her alter ego, Cindy Martin, also came on the show. And strangely enough, she has a connection to, my show coming up in the next couple of days, if I have anything to do with it. And I do. So here's the deal. Wrapping up horror hosts and moving on to the next phase. And if you've been following the show at all, you may have heard me mention that there's one interview that I recorded that I never uploaded. And that is going to change starting next show. It's an interview that I did with someone who starred in not only a really famous horror film, but an infamous horror film. A horror film that you could say, really kind of changed the game. I did an interview with this person almost 10 years ago now. And I did it to save as a rainy day. And that rainy day never came because I wound up shutting down the show before I ever uploaded the interview. And it's been sitting on my hard drive for 10 years. And that's changing. The plan is this. As soon as I'm done recording this show and putting it together, I'm getting to work on the next show. It will be uploaded within a few days. I want that to be the focus for October for this podcast, for my site on YouTube and iTunes and everywhere else. So if you're a fan of horror, if you know anybody that's a fan of horror, please send them this way. I don't think this interview is going to disappoint. We talk about the movie that they were in. That's all this interview is. And there is no filler. So come on back and literally in a few days, if not sooner, if I can get it done quicker, I will. But I hope you join me. And as we head back outside into the windy graveyard, fall is in the air. Although those of you in the south, I think, are still getting hit with some heat waves in the southeast. So I'm sure this wind feels very nice and refreshing. In the meantime, my friends, I'm going to get to work on my next show. I look forward to seeing you here very, very soon. And as you exit the graveyard, I would like to remind you to please lock the gate behind you. We wouldn't want anyone to get out. Until next time.